Ready, books. Alright, y'all, we're back with another banger of a chapter 1491, called Immovable. Fun fact, I was actually going to name like the words on the thumbnail Immovable in the last chapter, like maybe change for something else. I feel like everyone's going to be using that, and I'm glad I didn't, because now that's name with this title would have been confusing. I don't know, I'm going to use this thumbnail. Yeah, you're going to know when you see it, but yeah, just throwing that out there. Anywho, thank you all for your first time to the channel. My name is ARVM. I talk about fighting manga, specifically boxing, but I'll go into other ones as well, mixed martial arts. And I'm starting right now. Currently, it's Hajime no Ippo. That's like my main channel focus. You can tell from my thumbnail, but I like to branch out. So thanks for coming by. Please like and subscribe if you feel the need to do so, and comment below and tell me how I did in this video. All right. So just getting into it. Coming in from where we left off on the last chapter, Ippo is clutching Sendo for dear life. They're having their sparring match, and he does not want to give up. Okay, we see his face, and it says clenched. I think he's digging his toenails into his soles of his shoes, and his balls of his feet into the mat to make sure he doesn't move. The author's note says, the day before his world title match, Sendo forces a spar against the Tiger's Rush. Ippo forces a clinch. How will Sendo shake him off? And we just see Ippo holding down hard, sticking his feet in the ground. And Ippo's thinking to himself, I'm not letting go. And you see how hard his toes are clenching to the mat. First off, I want to give a big shout out to the good people H&I Scantrag and Good Sir Scanulations. Give them a follow on Discord at TinyCCLMGS. And personal thank yous to Ben Block, Papa J, and Pop Curry. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate y'all. Getting back to the action. See, Ippo starts again. He says, the second I let go, he'll throw one of his insane punches. I definitely can't let go. And we see Ippo's feet slowly but surely becoming like his veins going down into the mat and becoming like the roots of a tree, as he thinks definitely not. And we see his toes have taken up the imagery of a root. And real quick, just for this panel by itself, this panel reminds me so much of the Antonio Guevara fight when he actually fought against Ippo, and Antonio thought this about Ippo, like, yo, he's a boulder, I can't let him go, he throw that thing again, which was the new Debsy roll, but the roles actually reversed this time, so I think that's kind of funny. And also, I wonder what Antonio Guevara's been up to. Like, he's one of the opponents about Ippo I really do wonder about. You know, like, I wonder about other ones too, but that's one specifically I want to know what he's been doing, what he's been up to. And everyone has defeated Ippo, we learn about them. You know, they've retired. Besides him, when he's not brought up, I think that's on purpose. I don't think that's by accident. Even like in hearsay or inside, nothing. Even Imai's not going after him. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't he fight Imai yet? Or Itagaki? Nothing, not brought up at all. So we'll see. Granted, he may go back to the Philippines, but I don't see him going the route of the OPBF, because then he had to face against Miyata. So we'll see. He'll be back soon. And the imagery of the root is amazing. Like, we're getting back to that, just showing like taking artistic liberties with the work. You know, like when Ippo was like punching people's brains out against I forget his name right now, but the magician. The next panel says, Sendo thinking, did his fucking feet sprout roots? I can't do ish like this. And Miyata's looking at the clock in his hand. Sendo thinks, ain't you wanna make you wanna make this a sumo match? Let's fucking go. Miyata's still watching. Sendo thinks, I'll take that fight, as he grips harder on Ippo. He says, whoa. Ippo just clenches to the ground. Thinks to himself, I'm not letting go. You see a stretched look on Sendo's face as he's trying his hardest to pick him up. Then you get inside Sendo's thoughts. He's smaller than me. How the hell is he doing this? Just what is he made of? As we see an image of a giant boulder and Sendo pushing against it. Sheesh. This is that boulder they put in front of Jesus before he came out 3 days. It is insanely massive. And Sendo's like going against it. There's no chance. Sendo thinks to himself, it's just like when he was active. No. His foundations have gotten even stronger since then. And you see Sendo with almost like a grin on his face. He's proud of his friend. He knows he'll come back to boxing. He doesn't know what his triggers are just yet, but he knows he'll eventually be back to boxing. Miyata watching the clock. And then I thought it said it was over with at this point, but we'll get to that in a second. Ippo pulls his head back up and says, Miyata-san, you said 1 round. Surely it's been 3 minutes, hasn't it? Miyata looked on his face as he looks down at the stopwatch, staring intently. He says, I wasn't actually paying attention. Ippo says, you idiot. Finally talking back to his man. Miyata was so focused on Ippo, he just wasn't paying attention to the clock, which, it worked out for us, but Ippo was so stressed out. Miyata says, anyway, your phone has been going off non-stop. And then Sino looks at it and says, huh? Who is it? A shock look on his face. He says, come watch tomorrow. I'm going to lay out the legend. Which you all know it's his grandma on the phone, But Sino still has his mindset on defeating Ricardo. All these things are going on. Real boxing stuff. Ippo thinks, that was, and Miyata finishes sudden. Miyata looks over at Ippo and his hands are shaking. He says, I'm fine. He didn't actually land any clean punches after all. Although my arms are still asleep from blocking them. If he really swings all he's got, if he manages to land one, that 1 in 100 shot might actually come true. Miyata thinks, I got to see something good. Ippo says, something good? You mean me being a human heavy bag? Miyata's silent. He says, you didn't notice? Ippo questions. Just now, he was doing his anti-Ricardo strategy. And Ippo's shocked. He says, you saw how Date and Wally attempted, right? Yes, I saw them both firsthand. Date took him on with intelligence and feeling. Wally used his wildness and instincts to press him from all directions. In the end, Ricardo still won easily, but there were times that his face clouded over too, and I could see those gaps. A champion that strong, you can't even see his true nature until after enough people have challenged him in different ways. Someone peels off one layer, and then the next challenger peels off another. All you can do is attempt to pick apart what you think are his weaknesses one at a time. Although, with each attempt, you pass on new information. This sounds like the Shrek Onions, Ogres Like Onions speech. But it shows hands passing across the baton. And if you remember the baton passes, Date passed one to Sendo when he was inside the bar and before he fought Takamura. Ippo passed one to Itagaki after his match with Imai. And then Ippo was passed one by Date, probably the most iconic baton pass. Those ones I can think about right now. Ippo says, the baton that Date and Wally passed, because Wally did pass his baton to Sendo as well. Sendo actually got 2 batons, I think about it. He says, I really want Sendo-san to receive it properly. Miyata says, whether or not Sendo is a final runner, we'll find out tomorrow. Makinochi, this is what I think. Undefeated doesn't mean... He then goes on to say, he may not have ever lost, but that doesn't make him any scarier.
Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out!
Miyata's talking spicy. He's been talking spicy since a spar. So you ain't wearing any hair gear. Why should I? But yeah, I like when Miyata said that whether or not Sendo is a final runner, we'll find out tomorrow. Cause I do. Ippo has to. He has to fight Martinez. He has to. Bro. I know. We like shows and the winner though. The late expectations, subvert expectations, but he has to fight him, bro. He has to. So. What Sendo will show, that remains to be seen, but looking forward to it. So Ippo, Miyata just staring outside the door thinking. Miyata's outside thinking, and here go Ippo, bro. He's like, his profile looks so cool as he starts to blush. And Miyata says, what is he was I agree, I think so too, and then runs off. Listen. I don't know what's up with Ippo. He never had a girl over. Maybe he liked Miyata a little too much. He liked him a little too much. That's okay. That would be a crazy plot twist. We had our first sweet main character in Shonen Jump. I like I like shout out to Ubiquitous. I like the Ubiquitous. Respect to the homies, man. My ally. The next page, we see Ippo sprint to Ippo. We see Sendo sprinting to the hospital. He's thinking, Grandma, you can't. I gotta bring you the belt first, so you can't. Just wait a little longer. And I was stressed out reading this, but his grandma's gonna still be alive somehow, some way. He jumps inside. We see Sendo and his teacher. He says, your grandmother has something she wants to tell you. Sendo says, what is it? Say it, say something. She whispers. She's with him. You can see she's shaking when she speaks. He said, I ain't got long left. It's almost up for me. Sendo yells, don't talk like that. She says, I want to see it. Sendo says, I'll show you the belt. Tomorrow it's going to be right here next to your pillow. So that's why you can't talk like that. That's not it. I want to see. She gulps. Sino stresses out. He says, "What is it? What do you want to see? Whatever it is, tell me." His face almost looks like Joe Yabuki's when he found out Rikishi passed away. Just that grimace on him. His grandma says, "While I'm still alive, while you're still alive, I want to see my great-grandchild's face." And this took me aback. I was like, great-grandchild? Who's your great-grandchild? I was like, oh, Sendo has to have a baby. She make another 9 months. He might not be dying just yet. Maybe the wheelchair if not passing. Sendo looks at her lovingly. He backs up a little bit and puts up his hand to chop her. Yeah! And the teacher stops him and says, "She's sick." He says, "Look, Grandma, you're being unreasonable. I ain't even got a girlfriend." She says, "Don't you?" She puts her hand up, shaking. Right there. She points at the girl next to Sendo. Sendo's teacher. You gotta give her a name. I don't know what her name is. I'll look it up. If you guys know, put it in the comments. Sendo puts his hand to chop her again, and his grandma and his teacher slaps and says, "She is sick." And Grandma says, "She's perfect for you. You're made for each other." The teacher blushes. She been plotting on him since school, boy. This is grade school. Plot on that boy. And he says, "All that junk aside, for now, how about you just take the belt? Technically, I already got a partner. Tomorrow I got a date with the legend in the ring." Hey, yo. But he's right, he's not wrong. Tomorrow, the man you raised is going to come back here the world champion, so just hang on. Grandma says nothing. Sendo gets shocked. Teacher says, "Looks like she fell back asleep." Okay, she seems okay for now. For now, Sendo thinks. Your grandmother will definitely wait for you to come back. That's right. And Sendo thinks, the man she raised is going to come back here the world champion. Woo! To be continued. We got a cold panel spread to Sendo. One eye looking forward, fist balled up. He's ready to take the belt. He's ready to take the belt. I don't think he's taking that belt, and I think his grandma passes away. I know, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. But I don't think it's going to go that smooth. Or if he does get the belt, his grandma's going to pass. I do think Joe Yabuki's storyline and then Sendo's storyline kind of go hand in hand. So he has to, after a match, he's going to face type of a loss like that, you know? Also, I wonder if this is going to give any glimpses of Mashiba. He's watching in the hospital room or anything like that. Probably not. Probably he's still injured, but it would be cool to see him with like his new haircut or shaved head or something like that. This chapter was it. It speaks for itself. Last chapter was kind of short. This one made up for it. We're getting into it, y'all. We're getting into it. There's no break next week. Thank goodness for that. Yeah, I think next week is going to have the ring walk-ins, you know? I think he punches going to be thrown. We're going to see more of Ricardo's side and his mindset, what he's been up to. I really want to see Ricardo cross paths with Date and apologize or just, I don't know what it's going to be like. But I would love to see him meet. I feel like it's them, for Ricardo leave without seeing Date in Japan, it would just be bad. I just wouldn't like that, you know? But yeah, tomorrow, I think Tuesday, we get into the matches, y'all. I know I've been slacking on Rumble City, but it's coming up. More videos dropping again. And yeah, thanks for sticking by. Taking that like button. Comment how I did in this video below. And see you next one.
The advice that I always give, because it's really tough, genuinely, to do YouTube, especially with everyone doing it. The best advice I can always give is, if there's content that you want to watch and it doesn't exist, that's the best way to start. It's always the best way to start making stuff that fills a void that isn't there. You know, there's 50,000 people making, you know, chapter reviews about a series that you're reading on YouTube, but not that many people might make, you know, character deep dives about that video. You know, not many people may, you know, make whatchamacallit. They might not make fight analysis, or they might not make, you know, just in my wheelhouse of anime manga, they might not make, you know, ranking videos or stuff like that. Like, that's always the best place to start, because genuinely speaking, like, when you are filling that void, you know what I mean, and people come in and tune in for that, like, yeah, it's then tough to turn around and say, okay, I've made a bunch of, you know, character deep dives on fucking, who knows, you know, Devil May Cry or something. But then I want to talk about this. Instead, I want to do chapter reviews as well on the side. Feel free to do that. And the thing is like the void filling content, the long-term, we call it evergreen content, the stuff that's always kind of good. That is what will get people interested in what you have to say, and then they'll subscribe, and then they'll tune into the other stuff that may not be as, you know, in-depth or as impactful. And it's tough out there, you know, but consistency is also key. Just keep going at it, you know what I mean? Just every time you post, also don't afraid to be your own critic. That's also very important. Every time you post, you should be looking at your content and going, okay, how could I have done this better? What might have been better? And then make sure you carry that into your very next video. And every time you'll get better, and it might not feel like you're getting better at first, but like when you look at the videos you were making 6 months ago compared to the videos that you're making, you know, 6 months in the future, you'll be like, damn, you know what? Actually, we improved a decent amount. And I'm telling you, it happens. It happens before you know it. And then it takes a long time to get that 1, that 10, you know, that 20, that 100, that 500, that 1,000. But it's one of those things where it snowballs, right? It gets it gets faster, you know. Trust me. Managed to pull anything crazy in Phantom Parade? Nothing recently with nothing really with the half anniversaries. I got my 2 Noburas, which were big time. I needed the Noburas.